Hi, I'm Elizabeth Harmansis, and this is WakeTV. Well, it's springtime again, and as always, there's a lot happening in Wake County. Stay tuned to find out more. In February, the Wake County Board of Commissioners made a big announcement. On Monday, February 12th, David Ellis was named our next county manager. Now, David has already worked for Wake County for several years, but this new position makes him the first African American to hold the county's highest administrator role. Our communications director, Dara Demai, sat down with David to learn more about him and his goals for his new role with Wake County.
We really appreciate you taking some time to sit down and talk with us today. We just have a few questions that we want to ask so we can get to know you a little bit better now that you're in your new role as county manager.
Great, I'm looking forward to this.
So you've been in your new position for, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? A little
3
over?
weeks, yeah.
Now. How are you feeling? How are you getting adjusted?
I'm enjoying it. It's been a great ride thus far. Enjoying meeting with staff that I have not had the opportunity to meet with before and hearing about what they're doing and some of the work that's occurring in the various departments.
Where do you want to take us as a county?
I believe Wake County has everything in place to be the #1 county in the nation for quality of life. We have great schools here. We have a low cost of living compared to other metropolitan areas. And we just have everything possible, great parks, great shopping, and this is one of the places where people are extremely friendly. So I think Wake County has been a draw and it will continue to be a draw. And so my vision is for people to want to come to Wake County, who want to talk to our staff and our department heads and learn about how we are on the cutting edge and some of the innovation that we are bringing forward to ensure this county continues to thrive.
You've been in leadership roles in a lot of different places. Talk about how your background makes you uniquely qualified to do this job.
So I spent the first 21 years of my working life in Fairfax County, Virginia, which is a large suburb outside of Washington, D.C. And Fairfax County has many similarities with Wake County in terms of just rapid growth, a multicultural community, a high quality of life. And so I believe experiencing what I did in Fairfax County in terms of going through that growth and recognizing that while growth is great, it does come with some challenges. And so with the number of people who are moving here on a daily basis, it puts a strain on our housing market.
So we've spent some time with the board recently working on the board goals, kind of refining them, resetting them for our new year that we're in now. So talk about kind of from that conversation what some of your key focus areas will be as you move into this position as county manager and what you're going to be doing in the months and years to come.
The board has taken a very holistic approach to ensuring and maintaining the quality of life here in Wake County for everyone. And so one of the things is housing affordability. That will be we will be working on that for the next few years, I anticipate, trying to find a way to ensure that everyone at every income level has the opportunity to find some type of affordable housing. I think looking at food insecurity so that families are not necessarily worrying about where their next meal is coming from. And that ties back into schools because children don't learn when they're hungry. And so taking a holistic look at the child and the family and at the community. I think the other issue that we've talked about is behavioral health. Behavioral health is huge here in Wake County, and our Alliance is in the process of rebuilding a system, a behavioral health system. And so we have challenges in building a new behavioral health system, but we also have lots of opportunities to make a system that was better than the previous system. So that also will be something that we spend a lot of time on. We know there's a need for supportive housing. This county does not have enough supportive housing or ancillary services for folks who are suffering from behavioral health challenges. And so making sure that we can start finding a place, because we all know this, every place you've looked that's developed supportive housing, it's cut down tremendously on the number of folks in jails and prisons with behavioral health issues. It's cut down on the number of nuisance crimes that police departments and sheriffs are having to respond to because people have a place to go and rest their head.
I think it's interesting that you have sort of the social work beginnings of your career that kind of, do you feel like that makes you really uniquely qualified to tackle what you're pointing out are the key issues for the county right now?
I do, and I also think, it's, I spent some time in foster care, kinship care growing up, and so, I want to make sure that that our system is really working to achieve the goals and giving everybody the same opportunities that I had. One of the things that's important in this position is the ability to listen. And so having a social work background, I've spent a lot of time in undergrad and graduate on sharpening my listening skills and recognizing what's being said in a room but also recognizing what's not being said and kind of asking those questions to draw things out. The role of local government has changed drastically, I would say, over the last 10 to 15 years, where local government has now being seen as a catalyst or a facilitator and partnering with organizations to achieve a common goal. In the past, you would see local governments, they would go out and do everything on their own. Some things were successful, some things were not. Today, local governments have to be able to partner, and so it's really about building those relationships and recognizing what your partners need or want to be successful.
So what do you like to do when you're not here?
So I love watching some TV shows, and people who know me know I love superheroes, so can be caught watching a superhero movie. And then there's the whole Lifetime movie network, which is my new thing. I found that one weekend during the interview process, and it was just, spent a whole Saturday watching Lifetime movies.
That's your go-to
That's
binge?
my go-to. And if you haven't watched it, give it a shot. And I have two dogs, and so walking, going to Shelley Lake, going to different places, getting the dogs out, having some fun. Just relaxing.
What is it that makes Wake County special to you?
When I first came here, one of the things that was extremely interesting to me was this was a place where 20 minutes from where I live, you could be in a metropolitan area. 20 minutes from where I live, you can be in a rural area. And in another 20 minutes, you can be in more of a suburban setting. And so it gives you the opportunity, depending on your mood and what you'd like to do, to really enjoy the full spectrum of communities. The diversity of Wake County. This is a diverse community, not only in terms of race and ethnicity, but also in terms of age, socioeconomic status, country of origin. And so that's another thing that I believe makes Wake County a great community.
So my last question is kind of around the team that you have here. And I'm interested to kind of get your take on, how important you feel like that development of team is to reaching the vision that you have and, what that means in supporting you in your new role.
No matter how good a manager is, he or she is, unless they have a strong team working with them, they're not going to be able to accomplish everything. And I feel like we have one of the strongest teams that I've been a part of in my career. We work together well. We can joke with each other. We can have serious discussions. We're a united group. And so I think that's important that we continue to have that, because I believe leadership happens at every level of the organization. And so the department heads, the deputies, everyone here is a leader. And people on the front line are going to see things that people in management aren't necessarily going to recognize. And so, over time, I want to make sure that folks on the front line have a voice to try and be innovative, bring things to their managers and say, hey, here's a better way of doing something. Because one of the things I believe is that if we're standing still, we're actually falling behind, because the world is moving so quickly forward. And so we can't afford to be stagnant.
Well, thank you so much for taking a little time out of your very busy day to sit down and share some insights with us.
Thank you.
Big changes are coming to the South Wake Recycling and Trash Drop-Off Facility in Apex. By 2018, the renovated facility will provide residents better access to trash disposal and recycling options in the area. A new layout will also help traffic flow easily through the site. During the transition, please pay attention to all signs at the facility, as traffic patterns and drop-off locations will shift several times during construction. For more information, visit wakegov.com/recycling. That's wakegov.com/recycling. Did you know 1 in 30 baby boomers has hepatitis C? People born between 1945 and 1965 are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. Hepatitis C can hide in the body for years or even decades and can cause cirrhosis, cancer, and even death. The good news is hepatitis C can be treated. The first step is to get a simple, free blood test. Don't be a statistic. Visit wakegov.com/hepc today to schedule your free blood test.
Each year, Wake County's Emergency Management Division observes Emergency Preparedness Week. This year, our very own Carrie McCumber went out to ask staff about the importance of putting together and maintaining your very own emergency preparedness kit.
We're here today with Josh Creighton from Wake County Emergency Management to talk about building your home emergency kit. It's one of the most important things you can do to keep your family safe in an emergency or a disaster. But before we get into that, Josh, tell me a little bit about where we are right now.
Right now we're in the county's warehouse. We use this for a variety of things, including storing disaster preparedness equipment, things that we may need in the field in the event of emergency. And it's also the stock holding place for all the EMS materials that go on the ambulances on a daily basis.
So Wake County is 24/7, 365 days a year ready for an emergency.
We have to be. We are constantly evaluating the threats that our community faces. We're looking at our response capabilities, and when we evaluate them, we may add or delete things from this facility as needed, depending upon the events and the threats that emerge in the community.
Every family in Wake County should also be prepared for an emergency, and building a home emergency kit is one of the things we can do to do that. Why is it so important?
It's very important because the county does have a lot of stuff that we can bring to the incident scene and take care of things, but we can't take care of everything, and people should not rely on the government to provide for all their services, especially in the first few days after an event occurs. There's a lot of things we can do, there's a lot of things that we're focused on, but taking on some of the responsibility yourself can really assist the first responders and the local governments in having a positive outcome.
So what are some of the things that you should put in your kit, in your home?
Well, in your family preparedness kits, you should have the things that you need. They're unique to every individual. Not everybody is going to need medications. Not everybody is going to need eyeglasses and things like that go in the kit. But some of the general things that we talk about, obviously water and food are always important. A person should have 1 gallon of water per person per day in the household, and that just takes care of essential hygiene needs and drinking needs to keep you alive. There's other things, if you decide to stay in your home during an event that maybe you're without power for 3 days, you're going to need much more water than that. So we recommend doing things like filling up your bathtub so that you can flush solids down the toilet. Obviously the bathtub water is not for drinking, but have other stores of water to use for other things. But for basic drinking needs and survivability, 1 gallon of water per person per day is needed. Also, any kind of food that you put in your emergency kit, make sure it's non-perishable. Lettuce is not going to last long in a disaster preparedness kit. So canned foods, things that are boxed and have a long expiration date are good to put in your kit. Preferably things that are not high in sodium, because that's just going to make you more thirsty and go through your water supply that much quicker. But things that are healthy, things that you can open. It's always important that if you have cans that do not have a pop lid like this, that you have a manual can opener. Electric can openers don't serve you well when there's a power outage. And those are just some of the basic absolute necessities for survivability of a person. But also pets. It's important to have pets taken care of as well. Do you have enough food stocks? Do you have food that you could take to a shelter with you as well? Because we do accept pets at our shelters, but we do not provide food for them. The home or the pet owner is responsible for caring for their pet. And we'll do everything that we can to help out and provide a safe haven for them to be, but we're not going to provide all the food and other necessities, medications that they may need. Also, the thing that you need to think about in an emergency is how are you going to be notified. So whether you have a cell phone, you're going to need a way to charge that cell phone. They have battery packs now. There's little twist things, radios that will charge up your cell phone. How are you going to get your cell phone charged up? How are you going to maintain that? Notification via cell phone is a good means, and it's quite reliable. But there's also things like the weather alert radios. They will push out information such as tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings, events such as that. But it is also part of the emergency alert system, or the EAS system. So any messages that we send out universal across the county will also come across the weather alert radios along with the telephones and over the TV broadcasts and other modes of delivery like that. So think about how you're going to be notified and how you're going to stay informed about what's going on in the community.
So sometimes people don't think about gathering their emergency kit or these supplies until the storm is on its way or it's already at our doorstep. Why is it so important that you think about these things now?
It's important to think about it now because now is the calm. During an event, you're going to be excited, you may be nervous, you'll have all sorts of emotions flowing, and you may not think about the things that you need to bring with you. Planning it ahead of time offers you the opportunity to think through it, play through it in your head, and that's all part of the evacuation plan if you decide to evacuate or if you decide to shelter in place at home, is do you have your medications? Which medications do you need? Do you need any other special equipment to be in your kit? And have that set aside so that you can have it ready when the event comes, because there's going to be all sorts of other activities, a lot of other variables that impact your plan that may not allow you to execute your plan the way you intended to do it. So doing all these things and being prepared ahead of time really gives you an advantage during the event.
All right, well, thank you for those tips, Josh, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Big changes are coming to the South Wake Recycling and Trash Drop-Off Facility in Apex. By 2018, the renovated facility will provide residents better access to trash disposal and recycling options in the area. A new layout will also help traffic flow easily through the site. During the transition, please pay attention to all signs at the facility as traffic patterns and drop-off locations will shift several times during construction. For more information, visit wakegov.com/recycling. That's wakegov.com/recycling. Did you know 1 in 30 baby boomers has hepatitis C? People born between 1945 and 1965 are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. Hepatitis C can hide in the body for years or even decades and can cause cirrhosis, cancer, and even death. The good news is hepatitis C can be treated. The first step is to get a simple, free blood test. Don't be a statistic. Visit wakegov.com/hepc today to schedule your free blood test.
With the warmer weather of spring, a lot of us are finding ourselves outside more often. Unfortunately, all too often we come across litter while we're enjoying the great outdoors. Thankfully, the 86IT program is on the case to try and combat this. Here's Patrick with more.
So hey Chelsea, thanks so much for joining us out here this afternoon.
Thanks for having me out, I'm excited.
So tell me a little bit about what these high schoolers are doing out here today.
They are out doing a litter cleanup along the Rocky Branch Trail really close to their school. They do several cleanups a year and they're out doing one today. And it's beautiful weather, so it's a good day to do it.
Tell me a little bit more about the program, like how did they find themselves out here this afternoon?
So I coordinate the 86IT anti-litter program for Wake County, and one of the big things we do other than hosting our own cleanups is we give free litter kits out to groups who request them in Wake County. So they're free, they contain litter grabbers, reflective vests in case you happen to be cleaning near a roadside, recycling bags, and trash bags. And they're free and we'll bring them out to you, so it's very, very easy. So this is a school here in Raleigh that requests the kits pretty regularly, and they're just out here doing one of their cleanups today.
How do you go about requesting a kit?
Our website is 86it.com, and you can just go to that website and request. The request comes to me, and if it works for you, you can pick them up at our office in downtown Raleigh if you happen to work close by or live close by, or I can just bring them out to you, which is what I do for this group.
Okay, cool. So how many participants do you have that sort of pick up these kits on a regular basis?
This time of the year, we're going to have a lot coming up here in the springtime. People have actually been requesting throughout the winter, which is great. But we're going to really pick up here in the spring. We'll be hopping, so that's awesome. I'm excited for that.
What are some of the goals of this program?
Goals of this program are to encourage Wake County residents to get out and take responsibility for their community. So like I said, we host our own cleanups. every year, but we really want the residents to take responsibility for where they live. Because if they do that, they really, I think, it helps them understand why litter is such a huge problem if they're out cleaning it up themselves.
Do you have any events that are coming up in the future?
Yeah, April 14th, we're going to be doing our spring litter cleanup in Southeast Raleigh. We're actually going to meet at the Walnut Creek Wetland Center, and a group is going to clean there, and then we will also take a group out to clean a couple roadsides in Southeast Raleigh. So we'll have an area for maybe families, kind of a safer place away from traffic at the wetlands, and then for some of our older participants, the adults, maybe they can clean along the roadside.
And where can people find out more information about that event on the 14th of April?
They can go to our website, 86it.com. That would be the best way, and my phone number is listed there if they happen to have any other questions.
Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing a little bit about the program with us today.
Thank you so much.
Big changes are coming to the South Wake Recycling and Trash Drop-Off Facility in Apex. By 2018, the renovated facility will provide residents better access to trash disposal and recycling options in the area. A new layout will also help traffic flow easily through the site. During the transition, please pay attention to all signs at the facility as traffic patterns and drop-off locations will shift several times during construction. For more information, visit wakegov.com/recycling. That's wakegov.com/recycling. Did you know 1 in 30 baby boomers has hepatitis C? People born between 1945 and 1965 are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. Hepatitis C can hide in the body for years or even decades and can cause cirrhosis, cancer, and even death. The good news is hepatitis C can be treated. The first step is to get a simple, free blood test. Don't be a statistic. Visit wakegov.com/hepc today to schedule your free blood test.
And finally, the Convenience Center in East Wake County has just received a facelift. In addition to renovations and a new traffic pattern that will increase capacity, the center is also offering new services for residents. Here's Jen with the story.
Thanks, Elizabeth. We're here today at the brand new, or I should say newly renovated Convenience Center, as well as the new multi-material facility and household hazardous waste facility for the Eastern Wake community. So I am joined today by John Robertson, who's the director of our solid waste management facilities, just to talk about this new resource for the local community. So John, thanks for joining us out here on this sunny and windy day.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the expansion of the Convenience Center as well as the new facilities and what it means for the community?
Sure. We have 2 HHW and multi-material facilities currently in the county, one in the north area, one in the southern area. We felt like it was important, especially with the growth occurring in this part of the county, or beginning to grow in this part of the county, that we needed to expand those facilities. Right now, somebody in the Wendell, Zebulon area would have to drive 30 to 40 minutes to dispose of things such as TVs, other electronics, oils, pallets, those kinds of things, or their HHW materials such as paint or items under their sink. So, one of the impetus behind this was just to provide convenience for our citizens of the county. Providing those services.
You mentioned HHW and multi-material. Can you expand a little more on what those include?
Yeah, I'm glad to. HHW stands for household hazardous waste, and basically the way we define that is anything that's under your kitchen sink or that's in your garage that's not something that would normally go in the trash. Things such as aerosol containers, such as paints, such as both oil-based paints and or water-based paints, pesticides, leftover fertilizers, things along that line that really shouldn't go in the landfill, shouldn't go in your trash. They can come to this facility. Oh, and I forget fluorescent bulbs. There's mercury in those bulbs, so they need to come to our HHW facility to be appropriately recycled/disposed. Multi-material is a kind of a unique term for Wake County. We sort of coined that phrase a number of years when we built our first one. Really the difference for a multi-material facility is it's focused on taking items that are banned from the landfill. So electronics such as TVs or computers, those are banned from the landfill by state law.
What are the hours here? When can people come by and drop off?
This facility is a little unusual. The convenience center portion is going to be the same as every other convenience center in the county. So it's open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Basically, we have 6 holidays a year, so it's very rare that the convenience center is closed. The multi-material side, one, because it's new in this area and just getting used to things, we're only going to open it on Saturdays and Sundays. Now, the unusual piece to that is our other 2 multi-material and HHW facilities are not open on Sunday. So we now cover all 7 days within the county for those kinds of collections. But at this particular facility, at the East Wake facility, multi-material and HHW are only open on Saturdays and Sundays from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
How does this fit into the larger picture in Wake County? You know, we're a growing population. We're growing by an estimated 67 people per day. How does this facility help meet the needs of those residents?
When these facilities were originally built, the population was much less than it is today. And so that's one of the main reasons for these kinds of improvements, providing that access to a lot more people that are here in the area. The other piece is the transportation aspect. With more people, more traffic, we need more area for us to get people off the road and into our facility.
We have noticed that the traffic pattern in and out of here is different than how it used to be. Can you speak to that and why that was done? Really, the biggest reason we've changed the entrance and exit at this facility has to do with the traffic patterns of the road we're adjoined to. We built some turn lanes so people could access the facility a lot better. And by doing what we did, we now put a lot of stacking of cars within our property. So on a typical Saturday at this site, before this construction, traffic would back out onto Wendell Boulevard. And one of my biggest fears was that we would ultimately cause an accident out on Wendell Boulevard because people are stopped in the road, waiting to get in this facility. Somebody doesn't see that and has an accident. So now we don't have that issue. We have plenty of stacking within the site. So the truth of the matter is the prior entrance is now the exit, and we've actually closed the former exit and moved the entrance a little bit further down the road. Once again, it gives us a lot better access and will help solve any of the prior traffic problems. So when people pull up, they should just pay attention to the signs and follow the arrows when they come through.
Yeah, it's pretty well signed, and you can see from the road where the turn lanes are and that sort of thing. So yes, great point.
Well, thank you so much for having us out here today. We appreciate it, and we've loved seeing the cars coming in already and using the convenience center on a weekday.
It is a Thursday, so it's not one of our heavier days, but I suspect on this coming Saturday and Sunday it'll be a little bit different.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you, John.
Thank you.
Did you know 1 in 30 baby boomers has hepatitis C? People born between 1945 and 1965 are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. Hepatitis C can hide in the body for years or even decades and can cause cirrhosis, cancer, and even death. The good news is hepatitis C can be treated. The first step is to get a simple, free blood test. Don't be a statistic. Visit wakegov.com/hepc today to schedule your free blood test.
That's all for this episode of Wake TV. Keep up with all the latest Wake County news by visiting us online at wakegov.com/news. And be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube so you can always stay in the loop. We'll see you next time.